Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. Now, the title of today's episode is Burnout is Not from Overworking, it's from Fragmentation. So, you're going to learn from our expert guest, Hannah Dalby, how to deal with the fragmentation that's keeping you from being highly successful in every aspect of your life. So, it's going to be a real valuable interview. So I got a short message from one of our sponsors, and then we'll get right into the interview. Stop forcing down those massive pills that end up in your toilet, not in your bloodstream. Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. For the very first time in my 43 years as a personal trainer and wellness coach, I am endorsing and recommending a unique line of nutritional supplements. Superior Source produces an exclusive line of microlingual tablets that dissolve instantly under your tongue. I have a hard time swallowing large tablets and capsules, but these tiny tablets are the easiest to take I have ever found. These products are clinically tested for purity, potency, and have the highest rate of absorption. Microlingual tablets are ideal for those with digestive challenges and for infants and children, as there are no pills to swallow. They offer a full line of key nutritional supplements, including many for children. So why give these supplements a try? They're easy to take, highly absorbable, and inexpensive. Join thousands who have ditched their pills. One tablet under your tongue will make you a believer. Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of today's episode is Burnout is Not from Overworking, it's from Fragmentation. So that's a really interesting title. It's going to be a really interesting segment, so stay with us. Our expert guest today, her name is Hannah Dalby. She's a human integration facilitator. She's the CEO of The Jungle and former professional Muay Thai fighter, a Thai fighter who spent a decade competing professionally before developing human integration, a precise somatic process that identifies and releases the unconscious triggers that's driving relationship patterns at the root. She works with leaders and founders globally to help them experience the intimacy, safety, and genuine connection that their external success has never been able to buy them. So Hannah Dalby, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So I want to first start with ask you, what do you mean by fragmentation?
So there's a thing that happens when we experience a trauma, even if it's a micro trauma. Someone doesn't hear us, see us, especially when we're really young, and we fragment parts of ourselves. And one part is now keeping us safe and is putting on a facade, and one part still has the desire. And this is where you show up in a place of protecting yourself with rage or volatility or people pleasing, all these types of behaviors, even doing a thing in life that is to get the approval of someone else when there's some other deep desire to do something else. So we have all these fragmented parts of ourselves that want different things, that are fighting against each other all the time.
Okay, that makes sense. So instead of being, most of the time, we're not being our authentic self, we're just fragmented. That makes a lot of sense. I'm sure you can relate to that. All right, so well, tell us a little bit. You have an interesting story. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, and I guess what you learned from being a Muay Thai fighter. Is that like Thai kickboxing? Is that what that is?
It's Thai kickboxing, but there's elbows and there's little kind of different rules.
So how did you get into doing that?
Well, I was about 20 years old and I was at a fight show watching a friend fight, and there was a guy standing next to me and he said, "Hey, I'm starting a fight gym on Monday. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Sure thing." And that was it. Never had a day off again.
Oh, but did you learn it? Did you go to Thailand to study it, or you just learned it in Australia?
Learned it in Australia. So with lots of different gyms. I ended up set up to do world title fights in Thailand and the US, but COVID happened, and during all of that time is kind of when I ended up giving it up for very different reasons, though.
So tell us your story, how you came to develop this process that you offer people. And also, I'd like to know how you think your competition how that really played a part in how you develop what you teach now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the good thing about being an athlete is it kind of translates to being a business owner and doing lots of hard things. And you get really comfortable being uncomfortable and choosing to do hard things for a result. And that has served me very well in running businesses and in even doing this kind of work. The fighting itself was definitely escapism. There was parts of me, fragmented parts of me, that loved being the center of attention, that loved being seen, that loved performing. And so much of it was, well, I can just train for 9 hours a day and I don't have to feel anything and I don't have to have any deep connections and I can just escape all of the hard stuff. And, you know, towards the end of it, I'd done very well and I was in a bit of a toxic relationship with my coach and there was some stuff going on there. And I'd started this business as a recovery center so I could get to the Olympics. I was like, I want cryotherapy. I want all this recovery stuff so I can perform at a higher level, so I can be regulated. And, you know, about 18 months into it, I had a big journey kind of internal with myself and I had to make a choice because the business would suffer if I would push hard in the fights and the fights would suffer if I pushed hard in the business. And so I had to kind of make a decision. And my dad invested a lot of money into the business, so I had to honor that. And I gave up fighting. And after that, I realized that there was a lot of stuff that I hadn't dealt with because now I had nothing to do and there was nothing to run from. There was nothing I could use to run away from this stuff from. And so I spent the next couple of years realizing I had an eating disorder, that I had body dysmorphia, that I had all of this undealt with trauma that was sitting in my system. And that was the answer to get myself back healthy because I'd put on a whole bunch of weight. There was so many health issues going on that I had hidden by having this perfect Instagram with my six pack being a fighter. So I did lots and lots of deep research around food to get myself, you know, the hormones balanced and that kind of thing. And I had been in lots of plant medicine and psychotherapy, and it was helping. And I realized that, like, whatever I had to do to get myself back was going to be internal work. And I met a guy a few years ago, and we had, you know, our own versions of doing this work and brought it all together. And kind of looked at, well, there's a lot of stuff out there that has a lot of pathologizing, a lot of projection. No one really understands transference and countertransference, and it's making this healing world take a really long time and not really get people to the core of things. And so we developed this modality together. We split off and did our own things. And since then, I've implemented it so deep into the business, it's actually the core of it now. And we're watching people completely transform their entire identities and have these beautiful, healthy bodies, healthy relationships, healthy, you know, businesses, all of it together.
Yeah, that's so good. No, I totally understand what you're doing. I know, you know, everybody deals with that to some degree. Everyone does to some degree.
Yes.
And of course, a lot of people, extremes, you know, like you experienced. And so that's such a valuable thing to, you know, it's kind of a trend these days to learn how to be more authentic and be who you really are and get past all the, as you call it, fragmentation. So yeah, I really think you're offering a really great service. And so tell us a little bit more about your process and how you work with people.
Yeah, so it's very somatic, and I know that you mentioned that before. And what I'd like to talk about is in all of the talk therapy, we deal with the mind. How do we like retrain our mind? And that kind of comes from a place of force, and you can make yourself do that and have all the awareness in the world, but you're still holding on to these feelings and old stories and old traumas in your physical body. You know, you hear about the term, the body keeps the score, and it's very true. And rather than just doing it from the mind, we're taking people into feeling. And that's the thing that people escape the most. They're very good at having this is why I do that, and this is why I do this, and yeah, that comes from that. But can you actually feel it? And that's the scariest thing for most people. So we gently, using our own very, very regulated nervous systems, allow people to latch onto our nervous system so they've got a safe place to actually access these feelings. And when we drive hard into the feelings, it actually starts to release properly. And it looks like all sorts of different things: yelling, screaming, crying, laughing, shaking, and it naturally comes out. It's not forcing it out. It's taking people there and letting it naturally come out. And once we get to release all of this stuff, people actually start to come into a sovereignty with themselves, and they can feel their own truth and they can hear their own system. And this is where authenticity comes online naturally rather than forcing it, because you're actually being with yourself now.
Wow. Yeah, that's so. We're actually feeling beings because we actually take action on our emotions and how we feel. So, why do you think so many people uh, in these societies today have a trouble really connecting with their feelings?
I think it's a multifaceted. I think we have a culture that moves too fast, and we've got so many dopamine distractions. Like, we can get on the phone, we can get on we can just endlessly distract ourselves from it. And we're kind of living in people might be a little bit upset about how the world is going right now, but we actually are living in this golden age where it's not about survival anymore. We've got access to everything. And so it's time to start being with these feelings. And I think, thousands of years ago, we kind of knew how, and everything was a little bit slower, and we've lost it, and we're not taught how to do it. We're taught to, achieve things. Like, the whole idea of success in especially Western culture is how much can you achieve? How much can you be a good girl or a good boy? It's that we're measured around these things rather than the depth of our relationships and who we are. So we just don't have the skills.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, it's no question about it. It's we've gotten so, like you say, we got so distracted. Our modern technologies are great. Just like here, you and I'm in California, you're in Australia. We can have a great conversation and connect. That's fantastic. But all of our technology has made it, because we can accomplish more. We think we have to, right? So everybody's always turned on. Oh, so everybody thinks they're so busy. You got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. And you just have to step back and unplug sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't actually think we have to do less. I'm probably doing more than I've ever done in my life. I just have the capacity to do it and the ability to stop for moments and actually be with myself. And it's those moments where you're actually present with yourself that allow that capacity to expand, and you can do more.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, tell us who are like your ideal client? What kind of people do you think that you really like to work with and you've been able to help the most?
Look, I love working with high performers of any level. So business owners, athletes, people in executive roles, people that just like, I'm doing a lot in my life. And I love it because, number one, they know that hard things are required to get to where they need to go. And two, it makes such a big impact. You change these things inside of yourself, and it's a huge impact, not only on yourself, but all of the people around you, because you're doing such a high level life. That said, we do work with, a whole range of different people, but they're absolutely where we get the biggest results from.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's the same in my business, working with people in their health and fitness, the same thing. People that know how to be successful in one area of their life, then they're going to realize what it takes a commitment to be successful in every aspect of your life.
Yes.
Well, tell us, let's see, I had a good question for you and I just lost it right there. Oh yeah, tell our audience, what would be some indicators that you can tell them about that would show them that, yeah, maybe I am really fragmented and this is some kind of work that I would really need. What would be some signs of that?
Waking up exhausted, being reactive in your relationship, having no intimacy in your relationship. If you're like, you can be in control and do all these things at work, but you kind of feel like there's not that deep connection inside of your relationship. Something I hear a lot is, I just know there's more than this. I'm doing all of the things and something is missing. I know there's more than this. And that's generally a disconnection to yourself. Yeah. And the other thing that I notice a lot is I'm just extremely exhausted. Like, I've had enough. I'm extremely exhausted. And then I think that the other really big thing is I can't lead my team very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how you say that, burnout is not from overworking. It's just not really being connected to your true self and being more connected to what your life's really about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're doing some really great work, because I think, again, I think everybody to some degree is dealing with all these things. No question about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you have a great gift for artists. Talk a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so I made this cool GPT where you can go in and it starts asking you some questions. And as long as you answer really, really honestly, it actually gives you the gap that is the most important for you to integrate next into your life, to have deeper relationships and to come out of these patterns.
Yeah, that could be really helpful. So, yeah, we'll put that information in the show description, how they can connect with that and how they can connect with you. So we'll just have maybe a couple of minutes left. So just talk a little bit more about what would you recommend to our audience, especially after they take their test and they realize that they see what the gap is, or they really begin to understand how they're fragmented. What would you recommend? What should they do right away to start to change how they're thinking and living? What would you give them some tips that they could start to do right away to make a difference?
Start to notice how you actually feel. So if you can come back into your body, there's a practice that we have inside of the work that we do, and notice if there is heart flutters, or if there's tension in your stomach, or if there's something in your solar plex. Notice what your body is actually doing, and that will give you more answers than you would ever believe.
Yeah. So it always comes down to just really slowing down, take some time to really look at what your life's all about, and be a little introspective, and realizing, hey, life is going by fast. But if you're not feeling joyful and connected and feeling, like you're really living the way you want to, you can change, but you can get some help and you can change. And no matter where you're at, you can change your life really quickly.
Yeah. I think the one thing to notice is if there's a pattern that keeps repeating in your life, even if it seems like everyone else is doing it to you, it's probably you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably you. Yeah. That reminds me of a funny story. You know how a lot of people dread, say Christmas or some big holiday where all the relatives come, and they say there's always one in your family that everybody wants to avoid, and it's a problem. And so they say, if you don't know who that is, it's probably you. That's funny, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much. I really think you're doing some great work, and it's definitely needed. So many people could really benefit from what you have to offer. So I highly recommend to our artists to, for sure, go to her website, and we have the link, to take out her assessment and then connect with her and see how you guys can work together. So thanks again for being here, and thanks for the work that you're doing.
Thanks so much, Rico.
Thank you, and thanks to our audience for being here as well. All right, we are back. I hope you enjoyed that interview. So I have another short message from one of our sponsors, all about how to improve your brain function, your brain health.
In a perfect world, we would all be happy, healthy, and successful. But stress, family, genetics, and life's little surprises take their toll on our brains, our bodies, and our psyche. And our quality of life suffers because we're not functioning at our best. Well, you can start by training your brain with the quantum mind method. This is not a game, and it's not a toy. It's developed by the world's only brainwave entrainment engineer, backed by over 40 years of research and development. It's 100% natural and couldn't be easier to use. With regular listening, your brain will naturally become stronger, more efficient, your most reliable ally, and all with almost no effort. You can achieve anything you want and get the most out of your life with the quantum mind method. The world is yours, so take it. Take it now.
All right. So now we have a short, maybe 2 or 3 minute video from our resident naturopathic doctor, Dr. Jonathan Glass, He's always comes with every show now and gives us some really great quick tips on a current topic that many people are dealing with.
Greetings, my name is Jonathanglass. I am a Ayurvedic practitioner, classical naturopath, and an acupuncturist, author of the Total Life Cleanse, and I've been leading cleanses since 1997 in Boston, Massachusetts. So one of the things I want to talk today about is in Ayurveda, this ancient system of medicine from India, there's a word that describes the cause of all disease. It's a very interesting word. It's pragya aparad. Pragya aparad is a very interesting word. What it means is when we offend our own intelligence, our own experience, our intuition, when we offend that, then we become unhealthy. So in other words, when we know something's not good for us, we do it anyway. But when we ignore our intuition, when we ignore our satiety messages, in other words, when we're full from eating, but we keep eating, when we expose ourselves to things, whether it's different foods, different chemicals, different toxins, different injections, so many different things, we're exposed to these toxins. And even though something in us is saying this is not good for me, we do it anyway. This is pragya aparad, offending our own innate wisdom. Now, the word aparad is very interesting. It means to offend, but the word radha in that means to love. So basically, when we offend that loving inner voice, which is always there for us, this is in Ayurveda, it's considered a fact that we all have that inner voice, that inner intuition. When we listen, when we don't listen to that inner voice, we often will bring about a great deal of suffering to ourselves. So learning to listen to that inner voice is so important to our health, and honestly, it will guide us in such a way to achieve better and better health in body, mind, and spirit. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Jonathan. That's such good information. You know, that's something that I've learned all these years of being a personal trainer and aging well and longevity coach and interviewing all these amazing experts, is that we are so much more powerful than we realize, and that all the knowledge and what we really need to know how to live a healthy, successful life and to heal, it's within ourselves. So we just got to slow down. We got to get rid of so many distractions all the time. Take some time out and just learn how to meditate, or just take a time out, quiet your mind, quiet your body, and just ask what you need to know, because all the answers are actually inside of us. You already know what you need to do in every aspect of your life if you'll just take the time to slow down and listen. Now, it may not just answer you like, here's the answer, but it'll slowly come to you, or you'll see things that show up in your life, or people will show up, or things will show up, and you'll say, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what's going to help me in whatever thing that you're dealing with. So we all can benefit so much from just taking time out, listening, quiet our mind, and listening to our higher self. In the spiritual teachings that I'm aware of, they all say that our higher self it's always there, available to us. It's spirit speaking to us, and that God is inside ourself as well. All right, so I hope hope that makes sense to you, and hope you'll do that. So now I also want you to know that the main goal of our Fearless Aging TV show is to help you not to fear aging, but to learn how you can age well, and your life can actually become more productive and more exciting as we age, because we gain knowledge and we gain wisdom, but you got to stay healthy and energetic so you can use that knowledge and wisdom to create something amazing in this world. Whatever that you can come up with to help to create a more peaceful and a more prosperous and a more joyful world for everybody. So that's really what we're all about. So we want to help you and everyone age better and stay healthy so you can make a bigger difference, a positive difference in the world. That's really what I think, that's why we're here. I also want to mention in our last minute here that I wouldn't have any of our sponsors or any of our experts on if I wasn't really, really believe that they had something of real value for you, and what we offer is really going to make a difference in your life. So, there's so much information and misinformation out there. I know it's difficult to know what to believe. So I hope you'll realize that we are a trusted source of information in all aspects of mind, body, and spiritual wellness that you can trust. And if you just give it a try, I'm very confident it'll make a big positive difference in your world, and you can transform your life no matter where you're currently at, no matter what your age, no matter what you're dealing with. You have the power to transform your life, and that's what we're here to help you. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Tell your friends about the Fearless Aging TV show. Be well.